with our favorite political pollster.
That's right.
Mike Noble, Noble Predictive Insights.
Hey, good to see you both on here.
Yeah, welcome back.
And by the way, I resonate with Jennifer. I'm from Wisconsin originally, so So once you get past 105, that's when I start feeling it. At least
it's like hot, right?
Yes.
So how did you survive last week when we're over like 110s or whatever?
Well, you just don't go into direct sunlight. That's the trick. Yeah, you just
keep those shades pulled in the house.
Correct.
Sure.
So did you have? Because that's my experience too. I grew up in Washington, and with each cold year, I said, someday Arizona is going to be from. Did you have those kind of days too? Where you're like, I gotta move to the sun.
Oh, no, I got like kidnapped coming out here. But basically, I've absolutely loved it. Though I grown up here, and of course, go back to Wisconsin. But I will never move back there. So I'm an Arizonan through and through. So
all right,
yeah.
So,
and you know a lot. And you know a lot about Arizona, kind of in your industry. You know, I mean, studying the politics and the numbers and everything like that.
Grew up here.
Let's start with like the governor race and what you've kind of learned thus far.
Yeah. So the state of the governor's race. So it's a race to be the CEO of the state of Arizona, so the executive officer, and essentially Katie Hobbs is the Democrat incumbent right now. She has no primary candidate. There's no one going against her, and so it's all the actions on the Republican side right now. And as you can see in our latest poll, this race is pretty much over right now. I mean, Andy Biggs, congressman in Arizona, he's at 60% of the vote if the election were held today, which is pretty wild, frankly, this far out. And then David Schweiker, another congressman, his main competitor, at 10%. And then Scott Neely and Kevin McGeely basically barely have a pulse when it comes to this race. So right now it's Andy Biggs basically. I'm probably not going to pull the race again because I think, frankly, this race is pretty much a done deal for Andy Biggs to be the Republican nominee.
But you have done some polling in advance, right? Looking at what it would look like in a general.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We've probably done 4 polls on it. We've been tracking the general election, the governor's race in general for about a year and a half.
What's that looking like?
It's Katie Hobbs currently has the advantage, and she's winning in any given matchups. I mean, she does better against Schweiker than Biggs, but Biggs is likely to come out. Biggs is down about 6 points, roughly 5 to 6 points when he matches up to Katie Hobbs. Also, Hobbs has about $6 million cash on hand, so she has a lot of money compared to Biggs. I think Biggs only has about $1 million or so she has about a 5-to-1 cash advantage. And finally, is that she also has good favorability numbers. So like Hobbs is in a good position, and what's even more wild about the race is that Republicans have about an 8-point advantage in this state. I mean, they have a real built-in advantage. So, Republicans vote Republican, Democrats vote Democrat, and they battle for the folks in the middle. I mean, they have a sizable advantage of having an 8-point advantage, but yet Hobbs is still ahead in these general election matchups.
So it's going to be a fight for the middle for independent votes.
Oh, yeah. It has been for the last decade when it comes to Arizona's general elections. I mean, you can't win by running a base strategy only. You can't just play to the liberals or to the conservatives here. I mean, you have to play to those all-important moderate voters in the middle.
And a lot of those voters, do you find that they're issue-based voters? And what are some of the most important issues, I guess, that Arizonans are concerned about?
Yeah, so when you look at the moderate middle or that swingy electorate decide the general election, they really care about things that impact them the most. So they care most about inflation or pocketbook issues right now. Affordable housing is actually their number one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at the cost in the last 4 years, Arizona housing values have gone up 50%. And that's great if you own a home, but if you don't own a home, it's not very good if you're trying to get into one. So the cost of living has really increased for them. So mainly pocketbook, and then secondarily, I'd say healthcare. They care more about the costs on that side, and then a little bit farther down, immigration. But immigration's really gone to the wayside because, again, it's more the economic pain points right now.
How would you say President Trump is potentially going to impact this race? I mean, he's a strong supporter of Andy Biggs. Andy Biggs, by the way, also with TPUSA, based here in town. So that's a kind of a 1-2 punch on the conservative side. And he is he won the state of Arizona a couple of years ago, but I know his numbers have been dropping, yes?
Yeah, I mean, with him, Trump's endorsement, it just matters. Are you talking about the primary or the general election?
In the general, once we get there.
So in the primary is the best endorsement you get. In the general, I think it's a massive liability right now because you look at Trump's job approval rating just in the state of Arizona is at -17. he won the state by 5.5 points. And now people say, hey, how is that job we voted for you to do? He's now at minus 17. I mean, that's a 22-point difference of where that was. And what's worse is that that's his overall job approval. When you ask about, hey, how's his handling of the economy? It's minus 27. I mean, that's abysmal. So, like, when it comes to the general election, I think it absolutely is an anchor on Republicans right now, electorally. It's hard to get really enthusiastic when you're really feeling the pinch economically. But when then you look at nationally, Trump, for example, I think, what was it? Pew Research put out some numbers recently where they've been tracking for many decades. And you compare Trump to all the previous presidents up till, like, Dwight D. Eisenhower, and Trump is literally performing worse than anybody else of his predecessors at this point in time. For job approval. So again, he's not doing great, and I don't know, the latest news on the Strait of Hormuz being closed again for the 30th time. It's going to increase gas prices.
You can keep me track. 30 now.
Yeah, I know. It was like 26, 27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's tough for any president too in the middle of a war, right? Do the numbers show that I think George W. Bush was the only one after 9/11 that really his approval ratings skyrocketed because the country came together, and so it's very difficult.
Yeah, when you get ambushed and attacked and you're the guy rallying, the folks say, hey, we're going to go get those bad guys. Sure, your numbers go up. But the difference was Trump ran on a platform of being an isolationist, right?
Yeah.
No more forever wars, none of these forever. We're not going to get involved in the Middle East. That's a bunch of garbage over there. And what has happened? He's created more wars than I think any president in many decades. But also, he's basically created now a forever war. It appears to be against one of the most religious, fanatical groups, which is the country of Iran. And again, that controls the Strait of Hormuz, where more than 20% of the world's oil supply goes through.
Yeah. All right, let's shift back to local.
All right, let's do it.
CD1, Congressional District 1. Where do you want to start, on the Republican side or the Democrat side?
Yeah, I mean, the Republican side I think is probably a little bit easier. You have Jay Feely, who's the former Arizona Cardinals kicker. He's currently, he has Trump's endorsement in that race. And then you have Joseph Chaplik, who's been a longtime state legislator, conservative, but he doesn't have Trump's endorsement. And Jay Feely also put out some big numbers recently on his fundraising. He outraised everybody else in the field by a significant amount. I think he raised over $700,000 in one quarter.
And yet, on the Democratic side, I watch these ads and I think, are you telling me that all three Democrats are MAGA Republicans? I mean, that's what those ads look like. Each person, they're trying to portray them as over here, friends of Trump, et cetera. How's that one? That's, let's see, Marlene Gallant, Woods, Amy Shaw. So, and there's a third candidate.
There's a third candidate, but it's really between Shaw and
those
Woods.
two. Yeah. How's that looking?
Well, it's interesting because that race, the DCCC, the Democrat congressional, the campaign arm for the Democrats, they actually got involved in that race where they're actively supporting Marlene Galen Woods, which is really interesting. So they've been coming out, helping out. I mean, with that story, it's been a bit of a black hole. Amy Shaw, he was the nominee the last two times, and tens of millions of dollars were dumped in that race. So he has some pre-built-in name ID, but he also hasn't won the last two times. So I think it's going to be incredibly close. And frankly, we'll see which way it goes, but it'll be between one or the other right there. And if Galen Woods does not win, I think it's a big black eye for the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee.
I got to call you out on that. It's Gallant. Marlene Gallant Woods. You know why?
Because you worked with her. She worked in TV.
I anchored with her at another TV station like 35 years ago.
Yeah.
By the way, we've invited her to come on the show. So
and she still looks amazing.
She still does.
Let's transition, if we can, to the State Department of Ed. ESA is a big issue for a lot of Arizona families. I think there's a couple of propositions potentially before Arizonans. Your thoughts on that race?
The superintendent of public instruction, outside the governor's race, I actually think that's one of the most interesting races of the bunch in there, because you have two heavyweights in there. Kimberly Yee, who's been a longtime Republican, elected in the state legislature, plus in the statewide offices. You have her, and then of course Tom Horn, who's older than all of us combined, and then currently has been in the state. Like, he's up for re-election, and so. And by the way, I know Tom. He's actually a great human being. I like him, but he is old. And so, anyway, so you have those two kind of competing against each other.
Yeah.
And so right now, I actually think, that'll be tough, but I think there'll be a slight edge to Kimberly Yee right now. But again, we'll see. In this race, they both raised a good amount of money. Again, both had stuff. It's just I think Horn's campaign went a little negative against Yee, and we'll see how kind of that shapes out. But right now, that race is, I think, pretty competitive, pretty interesting. And anyways, we'll know here in about, 2 weeks, roughly.
Yeah, I mean, they had that controversy controversial ad that was on television.
Oh,
I think you
yes,
were on
right.
when it
No,
first
I heard
when
about
it
it
was
for sure.
debuted, but
Yeah.
it's no longer
Can we
on there.
squeeze in the attorney general's race?
Yeah, so
and do either Republicans that are running for this have a chance against Chris Mays?
What's interesting is that, well, Chris Mays, I think of the Democrats out there, I mean, outside of maybe Hobbs and Adrian Fontes, I'd say Mays is the other good Democrat out there, like knows how to kind of run a good operation, right? She's done a good job of not stepping in it. And so I think the advantage goes to Mays a little bit in the general election. But right now, I think actually Warren Peterson has the advantage in that race against Rodney Glassman. Because you look at Warren Peterson has won races. Not only that, he's been a Republican forever compared to Rodney Glassman. Remember, he used to be the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate when he took on John McCain. Yeah, he was nominee for U.S. Senate, and he ran to be the Democrat state chairman twice and lost.
Wow.
Okay.
And so that's kind of tough. It's very hard for someone to be on a different political party and then run on the other side of the aisle and say, hey, I'm one of you guys. I'm like,
Kind of
well,
like Chris Mays. I mean, she was a Republican for a long
she
time.
was, but just politically, I think she's a little smoother than Rodney Glassman.
You guys have looked into the propositions as well, having to do with the ESAs?
Yeah, we're going to poll on them in a few weeks because they just made the ballot because those were under some contention, right? So we heard about them about a week or so ago, so we haven't had a chance to, but we poll in probably a few weeks, so we'll add those and get some initial.
Come back and see us on that.
Yeah, but I think ESAs right now, I've done lots of polling in general on
Let's
the topic.
chat with you about that in a quick second. Can you hang with us for just a couple minutes? We have a break to get to.
Of heights.
You know,
Bottom line.
I threw this in the chat. I said, share your thoughts with us on what are some of the most important political issues that are concerning you as we get on into this next election season. I do have a comment here from Shelley Vidal. She says, I think you guys don't understand Republicans because I still think, and I believe she's talking about President Trump, he's doing a great job. And if it wasn't for Democrats, he'd be doing an even better job. And here's the thing about the chat, I think that makes it so great is that you can share your thoughts in a respectful manner like Shelley did.
Right.
And then someone on the other side can share their thought on what they think is happening, and we can all do so respectfully.
There you go, Celeste.
Yeah.
That's why we call it the friendliest chat online. Hey, before we wrap up with Mike, we have one more topic you wanted to get into.
Yeah, let's get to ESAs. You all have looked into them, Mike.
Yeah, I've pulled them over the years.
Yeah, your thoughts on kind of them and kind of where we stand now with a couple of these issues in front of voters.
Well, a couple of things we know about Arizona voters and their position on ESA. One is they absolutely do like the choice of it, like, hey, having the option to use ESAs, right? So if it was like, hey, just public schools and no ESAs, they don't like that. They like the option of having it. What they also want is security on it. They don't like the fraud aspect of it. They don't like people taking advantage of the system. Also, most of the electorate doesn't like it that, let's say, it benefits, like if you, let's say, make, I don't know, over $200,000 or so a year, it's like, well, why do you need to get subsidized for your education? Like, you can literally afford that. So why would we need to pay for that? So I think they're against that. But they also think public schools, though, that we shouldn't just ditch that, that we should keep public schools, but they think that they have to do a lot better, not just throw money at the problem, that they need to fix it more structurally, the issue with it, with education, because there's so much waste that goes on.
Well, a lot of it goes to your, the administration.
Well, that's where the problem is.
Costs, instead of funding maybe what's happening in the classroom, maybe paying teachers more.
Correct. I mean, so much gets stuck in that, like, kind of in that management or bureaucratic thing where the money or the resources actually get into the teacher is a fraction of the money they get that actually gets to teachers, which I think is kind of ridiculous.
You are a wealth of information. I should have invited you, Mike, to come on. I'm Celeste, look at this. I've got a live preview of the primary vote.
Yes.
Coming up tomorrow is, I think that's from 12:30 to 2, something like that. 12:30 to 1:30. All right, Dave. And we'll be live with
That's
that
amazing.
on the Fox Local app.
Yeah,
so.
Mike, thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And you'll have to have, next time you do something like this, Ron, you'll have to have Mike in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You are absolutely a wealth of information, my friend.
I think you guys had me for election night, too. So
Oh, okay.
good.
Election night. So.
Hey,